I'm Feridun Fisharaki. I'm the chairman of FACTS Global Energy, headquartered in Singapore. I'm an economist with a PhD in economics. I've been looking for a long time, 30 years at the Asia-Pacific oil and gas markets. Well, of course, number one issue is the economic growth in Asia. And today at the presentations, everybody used the same sort of chart saying that demand will grow in this country and that country, and we think it might, but nobody knows about the future. But one of the more important factors that most people have forgotten is that supply of LNG from the traditional sources, Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei, is dropping very rapidly. And that's actually the most important factor giving room for new projects which might come out of Australia. This is more of an Australia thing. In the rest of Asia, it doesn't really make any difference. They are short of energy, they need energy, they get it. Whether it's oil, coal, or natural gas, it doesn't make a difference. In Australia it makes a difference, but one of the things always is that people in Australia think the rest of Asia think like them. They don't. They just want energy.
You have the JKT, Japan, Korea, and Taiwan, India and China. There are several new potential buyers, but if you look at the real buyers, of course, there is Singapore, which is very advanced. They're going to build their terminal by 2013. They already have a contract with BG. Thailand is interested to import LNG, and in fact, they've made a statement that they will import some cargoes next year.
Well, there's a lot of stuff under the ground in Australia, and different kinds of gas from different parts of the country, conventional, unconventional. There is massive room, but it's a big country. The costs are high. Environmental rules are great. Government is unpredictable. You have to deal with both with the state and the federal government. So some level of uncertainty in decision making. But the number one issue that the companies look at for developing the natural gas is the price of oil. If the price of oil is up, everything works. If the price of oil is low, most of the projects in Australia won't work. So best thing Australia can hope for is that the price of oil stays high. At $40 a barrel, more than half these projects, probably 70%, would be cancelled. So you need high oil prices rather than the carbon issue or the demand issue. China may have demand, but if the oil price is low, it won't work. Number one factor is the price of oil. All these things are secondary. The main competitors are in the Middle East, essentially Qatar. The cost of producing LNG from Qatar is between 1/3 or 1/5 of Australia. It's cheaper. Their LNG is ready. By end of next year, it's all available. But they've taken a hard stance on pricing. And their stance on pricing is what gives Australia the great advantage. So while they keep saying, I want a higher price, Australians are fast signing their projects and selling it off. And everybody's in a rush to sign it off quickly just in case they change their mind. But the moment they change their mind and bring the stuff eastwards, you can't get any project financed in Australia. So Australia has been lucky that the key projects have been financed and many of them already are going ahead.
As Dr. Fisharaki mentioned, if Qatar, because the cost is so low, if they want to come in a big way, they could flood the market. But essentially they are a little bit slow right now. So I think what is advantage for Australia is to maintain a relationship with the buyers, because essentially right now the buyers are leaning towards the Australian projects. One thing is because of their credibility. Second is because of the past experience of Australia. They've bought volume from Australia, and also partially because of the experiences that they experienced during the sellers market with Qatar. So one lesson that we've learned from the sellers market is relationships is one of the most important thing in the Asian market. And I think as long as the companies that are operating in Australia maintain this relationship, it's definitely a big advantage for Australia. We are essentially in a buyer's market right now. It's just the prices are very different from the last buyer's market. Essentially, there are a lot of supplies chasing very few buyers. So in that sense, it is a buyer's market. The prices have not come down because of construction costs. So we're not seeing the levels that we've seen back in 2003 to 2006, which is around $3 to $4 per million BTU at an $80 per barrel scenario. So right now we're still in a buyer's market, but essentially if the projects don't come online as planned in 2015 to 2017, then the picture could change. So it's cooperation between the buyers and the sellers. A lot of the CSG projects, what they're concentrating on is achieving FID. If you look at the two front runners, as most people mention, it's BGLNG, it's GLNG, and then of course there are other players that are trying to achieve FID. So I think the main issue right now is for the projects who have already signed contracts, they would try to achieve FID within the next few months to 1 year, and then subsequently for the other slower projects, they might think about consolidation. In the next couple of months, in the next 16 months or so, if the Australian projects don't manage to lock in buyers, then it's not a matter of whether it's going to be difficult for them to come online. It could be that they may not come online. It's right now the key issue is lock in your buyers for a long-term market and then prevent other players from coming in to take up the market, especially in Asia, because there's limited demand essentially. Australia is definitely the country to look out for. It's the next big supplier of the market. In the last 2 years it was Qatar, but I think everybody's looking to Australia to supply the Asian market and even other buyers who are potentially new LNG importers into the future.
It's important to realize that the buyers are the same buyers. You can't increase the buyers. Number one is Japan. Number two will become China in the future. It's the same suspects. Europe for Australia or US, waste of time and money. It's too far away, the prices are half the price. And why would anybody go that far, pay so much extra and get half the price? Because in Europe, in the US, there's gas-to-gas competition. The price of gas in the US is 1/3 of what Asians buy. And the transportation is twice. So it's crazy to go there. Europeans will be somewhere in between. Transportation is high. The prices would still be 30 to 50% lower.
My advice for Australian projects is the Japanese, the Koreans and the Taiwanese, they are the premium buyers. So in terms of what you can get out of the Asian buyers, you first try to target them. And then, of course, there are other markets that you can probably go to, but understanding the alternatives, which is the European market, they have the pipeline alternatives, they have Russian gas, they have NBP as a price benchmark. So if you look in terms of the pricing side, of course, the Asian buyers are still the best buyers to target.
Issue is concentrating on the same buyers, same suspects, give them better deals, and sign them up fast before our friends in Qatar change their mind.